Rahim. Welcome to the program. Welcome back. It is 9:31 a.m. and we now have Imran Mukaddam online. He is a community activist and CEO of Inspire Media Networks. We are going to talk to him about the Shahied David's Umrah scandal and lots more. We don't always get an opportunity to hook up with Imran because he's such a busy community activist. So I'm going to take full advantage of trying to get him to talk about a whole host of different issues, apart obviously of the Shahied David's Umrah scandal. If you don't know who Imran Mukaddam is, go way, way back. This takes me back to my CII radio days when the bread cartel scandal broke. This was the guy that spoke about the bread cartel. And I kind of wonder what exactly has happened to that story. Are we still, is this still an ongoing thing? And when we talk the bread cartel, I have no doubt in my mind that there are other cartels as well operating without fear and just, lining their pockets and just forging ahead, making millions and millions at obviously at the expense of ordinary working class people and the poorest of the poor in our country. Imran Mukaddam, salam alaikum. Welcome to the program.
Walaikum salam and shukran for having me.
Lovely to have you here. You've moved on. You've moved along, grown, and done a whole host of interesting things in your life. Currently, you are a community activist and CEO of Inspire Media Networks. Um, Community activism is runs fiercely in your blood, does it not? I mean, when I talk about the bread cartel, just give us a brief overview of what happened. How did that story end for you and for us as the South African public?
Well, the most significant outcome, I would believe, of the whole saga was the Constitutional Court ruling that found in favor of the bread distributors and actually awarded cost and some, that we could take the case further as a class action. So the most significant thing for me is that, yes, we were vindicated that there was collusion happening, there was price fixing happening, but also the fact that the case opened the gates for class action litigation. So, to me, the most significant achievement in that regard is that now South Africans can use the law to collectively litigate using class action provisions that was stipulated in the Constitutional Court ruling. So that is, to me, the case is being cited in every class action lawsuit. It's being used as a precedent. So it's better than having a name, a street named after you. I've got a piece of legal history that will be cited in memoriam long after I'm gone. It will be the I Mukadam versus Pioneer Foods and others that will set the basis for all collective litigation going forward in South Africa. So to me, that is the one most remarkable achievement in my life, I would suppose.
Alhamdulillah for that. And where is the street? Has it already been named after you?
No, I'm saying I don't have a street named after me. I have a
Oh,
piece of litigation.
oh, okay. I
Whenever people
misunderstood
go to
you.
court, they're going to cite I Mukadam
Absolutely.
versus Pioneer Foods. So it's
Absolutely.
better than having a street named after you.
Oh, I hear you now. I hear you. I misunderstood you there for a minute. Um, you've moved on since then. What sort of activism? I know community activism, but what are you doing currently? What have you done over the past, apart from that very big case that took South Africa by storm, and that, of course, is Imran Mukaddam versus Pioneer Foods. What else have you done along the way?
Well, importantly, I co-founded an organization called Inspire Network. Um, so we're busy with a lot of community outreach. We've got a youth academy. We focus a lot of our energy on media. We've got an online radio. We produce television content. Currently, we're providing training at our youth academy in media studies, in content creation, and digital storytelling. So that has been the passion project that I'm involved with. And then also, I'm very, very involved in the crime fighting space as a activist with the Community Police Forum in Elsie's River, and then also broader than that with the Cape Crisis Committee. So I've been quite busy, but not so much in the media spotlight, which is how I prefer to be.
So tell us about community activism. Um, y- we know that there's no money in it. It's done absolutely voluntarily. You also put your life on the line, very especially when you're involved with CPFs, etc. Do you find that more and more people or younger people believe that they need to be in service and to give back by possibly going to this line of voluntary work? And if not, why not?
I think it's a huge challenge to get young people to understand the necessity and the culture of volunteerism. They are educated and programmed to believe that um, value is only measured in monetary terms, whereas value can be interpreted in terms of change and how you contribute to change in your own community and into broader society. So, for us as community activists, it's a challenge to pass the baton on. There are some young people coming through, but not enough, and not those with the right motivation. The few that come through are scooped up very quickly by political parties or by structures and offered jobs in government departments and so on and so forth. So these, as a stepping stone for greater things, I think community volunteerism and community activism is a platform that young people should, look at. And if you can put on your CV that you've been involved in community projects, that you have contributed in some way to changing your own community and working towards a bigger cause, it does show potential employers that your values are in the right place. And I think that is an important selling point. Um, but yeah, with the radio station, we're seeing a lot of young people coming through, taking an interest, wanting to be involved, wanting to learn new skills. So I think, we should use that also as a tool to plant seeds of community volunteerism and community activism. I think the greatest um, you know change that we're seeing right now, especially in Cape Town, is the Palestinian issue. And the genocide in Gaza. It's really bringing young people into the fold once again. We're seeing a lot of young people being aware of the issues, understanding the issues, and actually participating in protest actions, really pushing the BDS movement as well. So there is a new cadre of young activists coming to the fore, and I think the injustice that they are witnessing, especially in Gaza, is awakening a lot of new potential. And I think the way in which young people use social media, especially for their activism, is maybe something that we um, and our generation um, don't understand, where the activism is really the site of activism is most effective. So yeah, but there is a challenge in terms of getting young people to do the day-to-day grind that is needed in community organizations and NGOs, and even in places like the health sector, in places like the education sector, we these spaces where young people can make a difference.
Imran, you actually preempted my next question. It was about the activism of young people regarding the genocide in Palestine. We hope and pray, inshallah, there's going to be a ceasefire. And should that happen, the ceasefire, I'm kind of wondering how can we then channel all of that energy of the young people into other meaningful projects, because we can't let them lose the momentum. They fired up at the moment, alhamdulillah for that. But post the ceasefire, which we're praying fervently for, we make lots of dua, we need to harness that energy. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think we've already sort of taken a step in that direction in as the Elsies River Community Police Forum. Prior to the festive season, I think it was the 13th or 14th of December, we actually had a event, a ceasefire event, where we sort of brought into context the situation in Gaza and the violence that is experienced there, and the violence that we experience on the Cape Flats on a daily basis with regards to gangsterism and crime. And we called for a ceasefire on the Cape Flats for the festive season over Christmas and over New Year. And we sent out this message, ceasefire now, applicable to the situation in Gaza, but linking it to our own lived experience on the Cape Flats. And I think the more people become active and see the injustice in the global economic system, and the more they see that our suffering is interlinked with the suffering of the Palestinian people in more ways than we actually imagined, and that the global domination of the Western hegemony and how they dominate our thinking, how they dominate our economies, how they dominate our suffering through the World Bank, through all the other instruments that they use. Um, you know, I think young people are intelligent enough to eventually see the links, and that the struggle has global dynamics throughout, that it's not just about Gaza and Palestine, but it's about especially with the ICJ, I think there even more so, we see how the international court and the court system and the rules-based order and the international justice system, uh, you know, becomes a focal point in understanding that we need to have order in society, and we need to work toward justice in society on a broader scale. And so all these struggles become interlinked, whether it's the struggle of poverty and inequality and education and in crime, and how it's linked together by global politics and global capitalism. So yeah, there is ways, I think, that through enough education and through enough activism and through media like yours and mine, in the work that we do, we are showing the way, and we are making the links, that all of these injustices that we experience in society have links, the post-apartheid era in South Africa versus the real apartheid suffered in Palestine, and then looking at Africa on the whole, we seeing the conflict in Sudan, we see conflict in Congo, we see the recent strike on Yemen, and you see how the superpowers are using their military might and to bully, and similarly they use the economic might to bully countries like South Africa that have taken a moral stand. And I think the stand that South Africa has taken at the ICJ is also a sense, creates a huge sense of pride amongst, especially young people that is active in the uh, Palestinian struggle. And for them, it also shows the importance of having political power. And so a lot of political activism, I think, is being born out of quite recent developments.
Okay, so Imran, let's talk about the heart of the matter that we have, that we're talking with you today about. And that, of course, is the Shahied David's Umrah scandal. We did have a clip. Let me just check with my producer if we're playing the clip out. It was taken at the airport. No, we're not playing it out for some reason or the other. And This is absolutely ridiculous. Over the years, we know that we as Muslims have been exploited in the name of religion regarding Hajj and Umrah. We've had tour operators doing lots of poor people out of their very hard earned cash. Whether you're poor or rich, the fact of the matter is nobody needs to be cheated, robbed, and exploited. What is the current situation as far as Shahied Davids is concerned? And I do think the man should be very worried because it looks like people are baying for his blood.
Well, when last I heard, he was arrested. I'm not sure if he's been released. He has been charged. There has been a number of criminal cases brought against him. Um, and finally, it seems like we could have our very first case of a tour operator actually being criminally prosecuted for committing fraud. We had a similar situation in 2014, 2015 with Shahid Stakala, where Shahied Davids was also a sales agent for this Ponzi scheme that was operating then. My first encounter with Shahied Davids in his portfolio as a travel agent or sales agent was way back in 2011 with the Asabirin matter. So he is a repeat offender as far as I'm concerned, and he's been involved in many of these scams. So yes, it's about time that that these fraudsters are being brought to book, and that they that we see justice with regards to Mutamirin and also Hujjaj that has been done in over the years, and that we can pray for some relief in this regard. I don't know if the people will be able to get their money back. I would say the asset forfeiture unit should freeze all of his assets until this case is fulfilled and until we can get some recourse. But yes, as far as I
And I,
know, he has been arrested.
Okay, Imran, and I do think that we as Muslims, we've often been told, don't wash your dirty linen in public. But the fact of the matter is, this type of scamming seems to be going on way too often. We know about the Kaji brothers in Durban who've scammed millions of rands from rich Durban business people. We've heard about the Amal scandal in Durban as well. We've heard about the Hello Darlings travel scandal, and so many, many more. Even in the Western Cape, I think one of the ulama bodies have been fingered in some sort of scandals. That's been pretty quiet for a while now. And I think we shouldn't be quiet on this because we seem to sweep it under the carpet. More and more fraudsters then seem to surface and scam innocent people. Um, how do you view, what do we say to our community? They often use emotional blackmail on you and say to you, oh, but it's a Muslim brother or a Muslim sister, make them laugh, Allah will reward you richly in the hereafter, etc. And because of that, they get away with murder. Your thoughts?
Exactly, Julie, you are so right. The emotional blackmail that goes on, in terms of criminal activity, and I think we should just call it what it is. It's crime. It's crime. When you have criminal intent, when your purpose is to exploit and extort from people hard-earned money, when you want to self-enrich, when you use public funds, when you use an amana and a trust that has been put on you, and you abuse it for your own personal gain, all of these are prohibited in Islam, and it shouldn't be a big deal in terms of Muslims holding um, these perpetrators to account, whether it's ulama, whether it's a travel operator, whether it's a business partner for that matter. We somehow have a culture that says We have to look for 72 reasons to forgive the person before we expose them. And I think that uh, that is just plain propaganda that has been entrenched into our mindset. And for that reason, we are more concerned with the public image of Islam than we are with justice. And I think justice is a prerequisite for peaceful living and peaceful coexistence. So we shouldn't be scared to expose these people, and we shouldn't have this um, type of fear that what will the rest of the world think. If we look at Gaza and Palestine and how Muslims are treated overall all over the world, there's no reason for us to be scared of how they're going to perceive us. I think the more important thing is if the world sees that we as Muslims are holding each other to account, if we can hold dictators to account and then also hold scammers in our community to account, we set an example of accountability, and that is the most important aspect of Islamic jurisprudence and the Sharia, is to be held accountable for your actions. And on the day of Qiyamah, we will all be held accountable. It's a fundamental principle of justice, whether it's in this world or in the Akhirah. Justice is a prerequisite for living and a life that is close to Allah and close to your fellow man. And so when there's injustice, we have a duty, as not only as Muslims but as humanity, to expose it and to eradicate it.
My final question then to you. I'm so pleased that I've been allowed ample time to talk with you this morning. Let's look at, if memory serves me correctly, I think you were involved with Brother Ravid, also, I think, from the Western Cape, way back in the day, regarding the issue around Sahuk. It was you, was it not?
Yeah, I'm
Trying
still I'm
to.
still a director on Hajj Watch, so I'm still part of
Oh,
the
right. There you
project.
go. Haven't spoken to you in a long time, so thank you for highlighting that. What is the situation with Hajj Watch and Sahuk, and why do you believe, if there are issues that need to be resolved, that the community is so silent on this matter and continue, uh, you know, continue their journey without supporting Hajj Watch? If you do believe, if you have a strong enough case as far as the situation is concerned, is Hajj Watch focusing solely on Sahuk? Travel agents, and what other issues do you focus on? And have you had any wins over the years?
Well, I think most importantly was the commission that was appointed to investigate Hajj and Umrah, which was led by Ambassador Ibrahim Rasool. And as Hajj Watch, we have made submissions to this commission. We have done extensive written submissions as well as verbal. We have noticed that the Department of International Relations have gone a bit quiet on this matter, probably because of the focus on more international issues. Um, but Ambassador Ibrahim Rasool promised that before Hajj 2024, they will um, make public the report and the findings and the recommendations to Parliament. So we have taken this matter up to the highest level that we can in terms of making parliamentary submissions and hoping that the Commission will include our proposals and our vision for Hajj and Umrah especially. So there is a number of recommendations that we've made, and
Can
we
you
are waiting
can
this
you
report.
share? Can you share some of those recommendations? Because I've read, the correspondence or the literature from Dirko, from Ibrahim Rasool himself, and for me, I could be wrong, but I didn't pick up any major differences. If anything, it seemed that it might possibly disadvantage future Hujaj.
I don't think there would be major disadvantages. They would what we would want is a complete replacement of the current regime. What they seem to be favoring is a sort of reformation of SAUK and incorporating into SAUK some of the proposals that have been made by the broader community, including ourselves. Um, we, there is a bit of a thinking that it's another lame duck operation, this commission. We're waiting to see. We haven't seen the final report. We haven't seen the implementation strategy. We haven't seen the proposals in terms of a legislative framework. But the most important thing for us would be a legislative framework that um, has some rules and regulations with regards to the process of Hajj and Umrah. And, then many of these kind of scams and scandals would be avoided because you would be able to hold the role players accountable immediately because there's a framework that speaks to specifically um, the arrangement, especially the international relationship between Saudi Arabia and South Africa, and how the um, the protocols are being negotiated between the two countries in terms of Hajj, which has been done under the proxy of SAUK, and it's basically been delegated to SAUK by DIRCO, which is a violation of our constitution. I think the commission acknowledges that there's been violations of the constitution and international law in terms of having an NGO going into binding agreements with a foreign government. So I think those are the most important successes if implemented, and we're hoping to see some of those proposals implemented with regards to especially how South Africa engages with Saudi Arabia. I think South Africa has a lot of goodwill right now in the world, and especially in the Arab world. South Africa also has a very good relationship. And from what Ambassador Ibrahim Rasool indicated last year already, if we all play our cards right, we should get a much better quota this year than we did in the past. So a lot of changes in that regard could happen. I think Sauk is playing for time, and they are really pushing business as usual. They want people to believe that nothing has changed, whilst we hope and also believe, that big changes could be on the cards quite soon. And this is what we have, you know, engaged with the commission in good faith. But we also have a pending court case. So, should the commission not come to the party, we have papers ready to go to court immediately, and then engage the Constitutional Court as well as get an injunction against Department of International Relations and SAUK. But we're giving this process a fair chance, and we engage in good faith. But we have papers ready, and we've made this clear to the commission and to SAUK that we have papers ready to go to court and to fight this out in court if we have to.
Okay, very quickly, we need to wrap up now. And we also have that video that I want to play out with. That, of course, is the Shahied David's Umrah scandal, how he was met or accosted at the airport when he landed. But let's talk about just very quickly the papers that you've readied to go to court, Sahuk and Dirko. On what grounds would that be?
On the grounds of the violation of our constitutional rights as South African citizens to practice our religion, to travel freely, and to be protected from abuse. And, so essentially it is our right to perform the Hajj that is being impeded by an NGO that has no legal standing. And then also Department of International Relations is flouting the constitution by allowing Saud to engage with the Saudi kingdom as if they are a legitimate government entity, which they are not, because nowhere in law do they have any mandate to act on behalf of South African citizens. So this is the basis of our legal argument, is that there's been so much violations of our rights as South African citizens because of the power that has been given to an NGO without any legal basis for that. So we have a very strong case, and I think DIRCO is fully aware of it. And I, I presume that the Commission of Inquiry is basically an attempt to avoid litigation. And we've given them a fair chance, and we hope that the outcome will be satisfactory enough to avoid us having to go to court.
Imran, I'm playing devil's advocate here, and I'm going to suggest that. Do you not think that your case might be thrown out of court merely on the grounds that Sahuk has been in operation for that many years, and it seems as if only Hajj Watch has a voice or is raising these issues? The rest of the South African Muslim community are pretty silent on the matter. So does that not put Hajj Watch on the back foot?
No, most definitely not. We've been at this since 2006. So it's been a long time and a long track record, and we've got all our history. We've got a paper trail. We've got all the engagements with every single possible government department, the public protector. We've gone to court before. We've written to the president. We've made, submissions to the CRL commission. So there's a long history of opposition to the current regime, and the courts will see that they are our final recourse, and that there is sufficient grounds in law for us to have a case. So I don't think that any
And
court will
are
just
you
throw it out.
comfortable, Imran? Are you comfortable that you are speaking on behalf of the greater Muslim community in South Africa? Again, I'm playing devil's advocate, but obviously that question would be put to you as well.
Yes, we are representative in terms of everybody that's waiting in the queue. And if you look at that queue right now, South's queue, it's probably over 30,000 people that want to go for Hajj, that are having to wait for an opportunity to, in a queue that is being mismanaged most of the time, that has no accountability to the South African community, and that is very arbitrary in its application. So we are speaking on behalf of that queue and everybody else that would want to go for Hajj. We're also speaking on behalf of all these victims of these scams within the Umrah regime. So I think we have a mandate as Hajj Watch to speak on behalf of a constituency. We also have the backing of the a lot of the major political parties that believe that SAUK has no legal standing, and that they have been abusing their position as an NGO. So I think we don't have to really be too worried about, the legitimacy of our standing. We could stand as an individual as well. And as we started out, we have class action as our collective litigation vehicle. So yes, we could start a class action on behalf of just the queue that is waiting to go for Hajj, and that is being mismanaged in terms of the selection process. So we have standing. We're not worried about that.
Couldn't the counter argument be, what about you saying that this issue was raised way back in 2006? The counter argument being that hundreds of thousands of people have in fact successfully completed their Hajj from 2006 right up to now, which is almost 20 years on. That could be used against Hajj Watch, couldn't it?
I don't think so. I don't think Hajj has been managed effectively as it could have been. I don't think that we have been given the quotas that we should have been given. I don't think that SAUK had the right to subject the South African Muslim community to the IOC provisions. And that if we look at the number of Hujjaj that have been allowed to go for Hajj by countries outside of the IOC provisions, such as the UK, Australia, um, USA, Canada, and South Africa definitely fits that bill. And they sending 20,000, 15,000 people for Hajj every year, for the same period that we've been subjected to a 3,000 or 1,500 or 2,500 quota over the past couple of years. So yes, we've been subjected to a quota that we legally should not have been bound to.
Imran, I could sit here talking to you all day long. Interesting discussion indeed. Please shout out to us when there are any developments on this matter, the matter between Hajj Watch and Sahuk. I think that the Muslim community need to be involved, need to be engaged, need to be made aware of the progress regarding this situation. Thank you indeed for your very valued time. We're going to play out with a video that was a clip that was shot at the airport, Cape Town International, yesterday when Shahied Davids landed. We also want to ask viewers to just use their discretion in watching the video, because I do believe that there was a bit of fists flying around. So thank you indeed, Imran, for being with us on the show today. May you be successful, inshallah, going forward, and we will catch up with you sometime soon. Thank you to our production team.
Shukran for having me.
Pleasure. Thank you to our production team for putting the show together. From me till next week, Monday, the same time as always, go well. Allah watch over one and all. Assalamu alaikum and Khuda Hafiz. And we're now going to watch the video clip shot at Cape Town International when Shahied Davids landed from his Umrah trip, being I don't want to say accosted, but being confronted by the people that he had actually scammed out of their Umrah monies.
You know what? You lower than the lowest on the dunya, honestly. You get mutamirin. You have no shame. Like this, then you lie on the TV. You're not saying that you're related to the rubbish. He's the mosque. He's the mosque. He's not woman. Sê my broer sot die ding uit man. Sot die ding uit man. Nee man, sy die wat doen het. Sy die wat doen het. Thank you. We have all the case numbers, sir. We have multiple case numbers.